All right, sweet. We are live. Adam, first of all, man, I just want to say thank you for taking some time out of your day, and I'm excited about this. You seriously inspired me the other day, along with all the other men that were there. I actually just want to give a quick introduction here because I'm very excited about this. Adam Fortin's a very good friend of mine. He is a business owner, actually multiple businesses, very successful paving company. He won't tell you any of that stuff, but he has done extremely well. He's a great leader, has an incredible team that is, just doing amazing work out there in the paving industry up here in Vermont. And I just like I said, man, I'm so grateful that you're taking this time to really kind of be with us and just to share this revelation that you've had because of the time that you're spending with God. And I'm pretty much just going to kind of hand the mic to you, and let's roll with it. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, Adam.
Yeah, I'm honored that you'd asked me to come on your show here and everything. I'm always working on me, and so for you to ask me to share what I'm going through and what I'm working on is, kind of different because I kind of I don't know. I got the idea that what works for me might not work for others, and everybody's at different places in life. So who am I to divulge anything in my 2 cents? But so I appreciate it.
Well,
um,
definitely, man.
like I said, I'm interested in learning. I guess you could call it mental health and human behavior. Kind of, I don't know, fascinated about that. So I don't know, probably the last 3 years, maybe more, I divulged into the study of like neuroscience, psychology, stuff like that, which I'm no expert on, but I find it fascinating and it's helped me a lot. Um, and I'm into all of that, but I'm also, a lot of people are trying to be motivated, like, oh, I want to
Yeah,
watch motivational videos or share some motivational memes. But for me, I'm like, okay, that's all fluff, kind of. I'm more interested in real strategies that I can implement and develop some habits and patterns that serve me, rather than just being, pumped up or whatever.
absolutely.
Um, so probably, it's funny when you start to, if you call it personal development or whatever, you try to learn about yourself. You start to learn how your past influences who you are today, and kind of dissect that whole thing, or at least I do. So what's crazy is
Absolutely.
that I don't I don't drink or smoke cigarettes or do drugs or anything like that. Which, um, if you do, that's whatever. Nothing against you, but I just choose not to. And part of the reason is that I grew up around it, and a lot of my family was addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics, and
Yep.
not functioning either. There's functioning alcoholics, but I grew up around non-functioning drug addicts and alcoholics. And on this road because it could be peer pressure to start something, or this is fun, but I always kind of thought maybe it's deeper. So that's what kind of lead on this fascination with like neuroscience and the mind and body. uh, so I've kind of always thought that maybe an addiction to drugs and alcohol or whatever stemmed from trying to cope with some like stress or sadness or depression. And if nothing less, they're just trying to search for happiness. Is kind of the outlook I had on it. And so, trying to understand how that all works, because, um, what is how do you define happiness, and what has to take place to make you feel happy? Is the road I kind of went down thinking about that. you know, like I said at the beginning, everybody's at different places in life and have different desires, but I think everybody wants their life quality of life better, and they want to be happier. And so that's kind of a common denominator for a lot of us.
Absolutely, bud.
And it's I don't want to take too long to tell my story, because I want to get to some meat and potatoes. But um, through crazy circumstances, I ended up being introduced to, you know, my faith in God. And one thing that hit me there was the idea that if we had a creator, that we were created to live for him. And then that creates a hole that people are trying to fill with other things like drugs and alcohol or whatever. And it's supposed to be filled with a relationship with Jesus. And I was like, I can see how that makes sense. And anything else that you're pursuing, you know, whether it be drugs and alcohol or money or a big house or car, anything like that is just going to, it's a trap, you know? So I was like, okay, this makes sense. And, you know, I'm never really pushy on my faith, because I respect everybody where they're at. And I don't think that, I'm better than anybody and I need to interject my 2 cents. Um, but I'm kind of, like I said at men's breakfast, I'm a root cause guy. And like I gave the example, if there's a broken bolt, you don't replace the bolt, you figure out what broke the bolt. So like I want to get down to what's the real root cause.
That's right.
And so, you know, it's easier for me, yeah, it's easier to believe in an uncreated God than a world that was created from nothing. And, you know, I don't want to take too long, but, you know, there's no real debate that Jesus was a real man. And, you know, if you study hard enough, you're going to know this was real. Way he's God. Uh, you know, when he the year block, no, is okay. He has a way of living for me. Am I going to follow, carve my own path? And carving your own path is basically saying that you know better than God, which is really foolish. So that's really the baseline thought process, really, um, whether or not you should follow God. Because if you're going on your own and going against Him, that's common sense that isn't very wise. Um,
That's true.
you know, my last point before we move on to the meat. The last point before we move on to the meat and potatoes would be, I think a lot of people have a preconceived misconception of what a Christian looks like, and I've heard people say, if I step foot in a church, the walls are going to fall in, stuff like that, and you know, they think God's mad at them or whatever. And you know, I hate to break it to you, but God's seen people that are a lot worse than you are. You know, you think you're so bad or whatever, but God's like, you're fine. Um, so, and then also, you know, believing in Jesus, people think they have to follow a certain set of rules, and you know, they need to dress a certain way and all this. And really, it's just a relationship, as Sean and I both know, between you and God. Um,
That's right.
so I just wanted to clear that up, because that's my foundation. And I'm going to get into talking about thoughts and your mind body connection and all of that. But it all starts with your faith. If you don't have that, you're still going to be trying to fill up a hole that can only be filled there. So I wanted to clear that up.
That's so true, brother. So true. We're always trying to fill that God-shaped hole, you know, and until we do, nothing's going to fill it, but nothing really makes sense either. You know, it's hard to kind of figure that stuff out. So at least for me, you know, and I'm with you, brother, man. Enlighten us.
Okay. So like I said before, I'm a root cause guy, and everything starts with a thought. You have to have a thought before you can initiate an action. And So that idea alone would, make you say, maybe I should pay attention to how my thoughts affect my life. It's common sense. So if your thoughts shape your life, your next question should be, will I be defined by a vision of the future or by a record of the past? And it's like, okay, what does that mean? Most people start their day thinking about problems and they're worrying and stressing over things. And so what we're doing there is we're trying to predict the future based on past experiences. And that's just memories on how things have played out in similar situations before. And past experience happened in the past. So, we're thinking in the past and we're bringing ourselves to a place in a situation that occurred in the past. We're literally existing in the past.
That's right.
And yeah, so how you think and how you feel create your state of being. So, on based on just what I just described, you could say that most people's state of being when they start their day is in the familiar past. That's that's most everybody. Um, that's me up until recently. Um,
When you say recently, what do you mean by that?
so what's crazy? Discovered this like of aware of your thoughts and everything. Probably, if I can narrow it down, probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe something like that. And
Wow.
yeah, so I'm gonna kind of try to describe a whole practice of how to be aware of thoughts and everything. And I started practicing those things probably 3 or 4 years ago. But
I
back
just
to what I
had
was just
somebody
saying,
ask me
if you're starting your
what you were reading to get some of these ideas.
I just have
Paul Netto asked.
oh Paul Netto asked, not reading
Yeah.
anything. Um, no. Where I learn this stuff, I have a few different people that I follow and listen to, um, just different publications, things that they put out audios. And so when I work, I've always got earbuds in. I run heavy equipment. Sometimes I can have them in,
Nice.
sometimes I can't. And I got sugar in operation, so I put these in. And so listening more than reading, and not necessarily audiobooks either, just uh, stuff they put out, whether it's on their podcast or whatever. So anyway,
Awesome.
I want to just finalize the point here. It's super important, um, because most people start their day just by habit. Like you wake up and you brush your teeth and you take a shower or whatever, and it's most of the time you're just doing the same things every day, and you don't even realize that you're washing the same part of your body at the same time every single day. And so
That's
we're
right.
creatures of habit, if you want to say. So I just want to start when you wake up is really important. Is that, like I said, if you start your day thinking about what do I got going on, what do I got to deal with, you're trying to predict the future based on past experience. And so if you're starting your day in the past, it makes sense you're going to create the predictable future. And you say, creating the predictable future sounds pretty boring. And if your lens if your lens of the future is colored by the past, it doesn't allow you to see possibility either. So, that can be um, pretty limiting. You can limit yourself. Um, and if you say, hey, this is all hokey or whatever, and I don't see how my thoughts have anything to do with my future, what's wild is that 95% of your thoughts are subconscious thoughts. And like 90 plus thoughts that you have today are the same thoughts you had yesterday.
That's
So
so
kind of
crazy.
like in a revolving door of life. It's wild. And I use the example, at men's breakfast, that your heart beats without you being aware. You're breathing without having to think about it, blinking, all these things. And the same thing goes for our thoughts. And we like to think that's not true because we like to think we're in control, but really we're just reacting all the time. And so just to throw a stat out there, 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day, which is, I know I maybe would have guessed 1,000. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so for 95% of that many thoughts to be the same thoughts, it's like, okay, maybe we should do something about this and be aware of it. So what's the first step? First step would be you have to think about what you think about. And I would assume that's probably a new thought for some people. Wait a minute, think before you speak, all this, think before you think. I had never considered that. So
Agreed.
simply by being an observer of your thoughts, you're no longer the program. You're the consciousness observing the program. So you separate yourself from being the victim of the revolving door scenario. And once you're separate from it, you can choose a new thought that you want to plug in to the program. And it's not as easy as it sounds. Like when I first heard it, I thought, oh wow, I've been having all these subconscious thoughts, automatic programs, all this. I'm just going to choose new thoughts. But it really takes intention and practice. So, your intent should be, okay, hold on a minute. I'm having this default thought pattern again. I'm going to choose a new thought that's productive. And then a new thought should lead to a new choice, and a new choice should lead to a new behavior. A new behavior will create a new experience, and a new experience creates a new emotion. And the new emotion will inspire new thoughts. And then your new thoughts can create a new personal reality, which is really where I want to go with this whole thing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's really what's excited me. I'm trying to establish this whole being aware of my thoughts thing, but creating a new personal reality is going to be mind blowing. Hopefully, when I get to this next part. In order to change your personal reality, you have to change your personality. And that sounds good, but I had to ask myself when I heard that, okay, if I'm going to change my personality, what exactly do I change it? And so your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. And I had to kind of wrestle with that for a minute. I'm like, no, I just have a personality. God gave me a personality, But the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, how I think, how I act, and how I feel is me, who I am. So
Yeah.
You can change these things. So when you've established what your personality is, you got to be aware that your personality creates your personal reality, your life. So if you want to change your life, you got to change who you are. You got to change your personality, and you have to start to pay attention to what you've been thinking about. You got to pay attention to how you're speaking and how you're feeling, all these things, how you act. So I'm going to start to switch over into talking about emotions, which is, like I said, Saturdays. Pretty excited about that. And we create long-term memories from strong emotional events, right?
Yep.
And that's why we have traumatic experiences in our childhood, and it stays with us forever, or to our adulthood. Strong emotional, um, strong emotional events. So what can happen is you might be in a mood, and someone says, "What's the matter with you?" And you say, "I'm angry," and they'll ask you why, and then you say, "Well, this person betrayed me last week, and I'm real angry about it." But what can happen is you keep reliving that experience over and over in your mind, right? You're just hanging out there and you're angry, and you can stay angry for days, weeks, or months. And what happens is you wake up in the morning and you're looking for the emotion. And like I said, how you think, how you act, how you feel creates your personality. And so what happens is this becomes a personality trait. Um, and so then you go to the person and you ask, tell me about this. Tell me the story. And the the latest research on memory says 50% of what we talk about in the past isn't even true. So we're making stuff up about the past just to relive a life that we didn't have, just to reaffirm that we can't change so we can continue to feed our addiction to that emotion. And it's wild because I hate to think that I'm a victim to anything and anybody's controlling me. But you're in this prison of your own revolving door of thoughts and emotions and addiction to those. So I'm like, whoa, I'm learning this. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do I got to do about this? This is not good. But before I tell you maybe ways around it, I want to explain a little bit more about emotions and addiction to it. If we're experiencing anger, guilt, shame, unworthiness, stress, it's because we've been conditioned to have those go-to emotions, and they feel like home. We're addicted to them. So, real life example would be, I've been guilty of this before. You might be gossiping and casting judgment, and not necessarily because you like talking about other people, but it's because we're seeking the next hit from the emotion that we get from it. It makes perfect sense to me, put that way.
Yeah.
And so what's bizarre though is, like I said, this is all exciting and cool. And I'm like, yeah, well, now I know all this. But what's wild is that just like a drug addict, you're addicted to them. You're addicted to these go-to emotions, and that when you try to change, it's almost like you have withdrawals, just like from drugs. So what happens is you're trying to create new emotions and get rid of these old ones, and your body's gonna say, "Wait a minute, you've been hating for the last 10 years, and now you're just gonna stop hating." And the body says, "I'm conditioned this way," and as soon as the body feels the lack of the emotion, just like a drug addict, it says, "Hey, you're off schedule." And what happens is the body starts to influence the mind to think about experiences that will create that emotion, just so the body can get the next hit.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Stuff makes so much sense to me, Adam. I mean, this literally is just how I've been living, in habits. When you would put this into context of patterns and how it was patterns that happened, it really put the habits that I've been talking about for a long time into such revelation to me that it all made so much sense about the patterns. It's something I actually really hadn't heard before when you were talking about that. But we really do control our thoughts, and it's because of those emotions that we have them, right? I mean, literally, we wake up in the morning, like you
That's
said, and
right.
if we haven't dealt with yesterday, today is going to be the same as yesterday. It's literally that same emotional response that we have, which is why we can control our thoughts and our habits to create new patterns, which I'm so grateful that you're sharing this stuff right now, man, because this is just what I think we all need.
Absolutely, yeah. And if we're not intentionally choosing, then we're really a victim to that revolving door example I use, where you're just going around and around in circles and experiencing the same life. And I actually use the example at Men's Breakfast that if you are a picture taker like I am, and you look back through your phone, you tend to see similar pictures, similar places at certain times of the year over year. And it's like, wow, I'm a year
Right.
older, my kids are a year older, but I'm living the same life over and over with small changes. Um, and we can be numb
That's
to that. We can
huge,
be
bud.
unaware. It is.
That is a huge revelation. And that's so true. I guarantee you that if we look back, when you had said it, as a matter of fact, you were like, in the fall, you're going to see pictures of you doing the same things. In the summer, you're
Yeah.
doing the same things. And it was just like, wow, man. I actually went and looked at some of them and really had seen that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you could chalk it up to like, well, that's the season. I'm going to do seasonal things. But if you really dive deep, you could say, well, I'm the same person I was last year, and I'm the same person the year that I was the year before that. And the old saying is, if you're not growing, you're dying. But really, it should be the pursuit of the man God made you to be. That's the way I look at it.
Ooh, Paul just asked a really, really good question. As you started making these changes and being aware of your thoughts, have you experienced a different relationship with God?
Yeah, you know, I have for sure, but I don't know. I've always had a intimate relationship with God, I guess, but
Yep.
I don't want to. It's almost like setting me up to give away the rest of what I'm saying. So I'm trying to not do that. So Paul,
You go
just
at your
keep
pace, brother.
watching and hopefully.
Yeah,
No, I want to answer Paul's question, but I think if you keep listening, Paul, you'll get that. You'll get the
awesome,
answer. Um,
awesome.
but like I said, I'm into tactical strategies. So hopefully it's not boring, but I want to get you as much
Not at all,
ammo
bud.
as I can while we have time here. Um,
Absolutely, man.
so you really have to just sit down and say, okay, what are the emotions that I'm experiencing that are not serving me, and be aware of them as they show up. Um, and just simply being aware, it allows you to take control of them. Just same as thoughts and emotions. Being aware is what it takes to be able to change. We need to trade that emotion for an elevated emotion. So if you're feeling hatred, okay, I'm going to stop feeling this. Every time I feel hatred, I'm going to choose to feel bliss rather than hatred. And you should have that choice. You should have that ammo already loaded in the gun. That this is what I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose bliss, not wait because you feel a certain way. Oh, well, I feel like this. Well, how else would I rather feel? That's not the time. You should already have like I said, the ammo loaded in the gun. Okay.
Yeah,
One thing that um, one thing that's really changed me is this whole idea. The quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. I found that very profound because I never really correlated the things that I enjoy in life to emotion. You know, I enjoy my life because I love my family and all this and my relationship with God, but all of those things create emotions. So it makes sense that your quality of
yeah.
life is your quality of emotions. Yeah. So really, you should ask yourself, what are 5 emotions that I would like to experience, and write them down and have them loaded in the gun, like I said. And I kind of just would imagine somebody saying, well, if it was as easy as choosing these things, I would have chose a long time ago. And it's really not that you can't choose. It's just that more than likely you've been practicing feeling these, you know, poor emotions, self-hatred, anger, bitterness. That's what you've been practicing. And it's going to take intention to practice these new emotions of abundance, joy, bliss, peace. And it might not even feel right at first, right? Because home is, I don't like other people or I don't like myself. And, that's just, I'm not going to practice feeling emotion that I don't identify with. And, it's not necessarily a smooth transition from A to B. It just takes practice. And, you know, just like you exercise your body, you kind of have to have these exercises of your thoughts and emotions. So you should have a gratitude exercise. And Paul, hopefully
Amen.
this is going to lead towards an answer for you. Um, so I've always been one that's grateful. Thank you for the Lord, thank you for this, thank you for that. But then when I realized that you can not only be thankful, but you can experience the emotion of gratitude. You can feel gratitude. Um, that's really one of the more profound things that's happened for me, probably in my life, other than my faith, is to know that you can literally experience that emotion of gratitude. And I'm hopefully going to be able to articulate why that is. Um, when
And
you're
how?
getting something and you're receiving something, yeah, right. So what happens is the whole idea of gratitude is that you're receiving something. Something's happening to you. Um, it's thank you because something has been given, or like I said, you're receiving something. So the result is that you would say thank you. And so when you're experiencing emotion of gratitude, the emotion is telling the body that the experience has already happened or it is happening to you. And so the goal is really to try to maintain that elevated state the entire day. Um, and that should be aside from the outside conditions, right? Because a lot of times people wait for something
Oh
to
yeah.
happen to feel gratitude, right? So, somebody could say, well, I was experiencing gratitude, but then I got in an argument with my spouse, or, my coworker was rude or whatever. So my answer to that would be like, that'd be a question. I'd say, you allow your outside environment to control how you feel. And if you're allowing your outside environment to control you, then you're back to that unconscious program that you're a victim to your life. You're back in the revolving door. Um, but when you start to produce outcomes that are a result of this elevated state, like gratitude, you're going to start to take notice of what you did inside of you, and you're going to start to believe that you're the creator of your life and not the victim. So
I love
it takes the practice and execution to really get the wheels turning. So, like I said, most people are waiting for their life to change to allow them to feel gratitude. But if you're waiting for something out there to bring you gratitude, then you're living by lack. And it makes sense that lack doesn't create abundance, right?
That's
So,
right.
so if you're
That's right.
waiting to feel gratitude, then you're going to just be waiting forever. Um, I'm getting dry.
It's good to have water with you. When you talk about gratitude like
Yeah.
that, I mean, I just started in October of last year, and I'm a couple years on you, brother. I started last year, where I actually practiced gratitude and do it every single morning, whether it's 3 minutes or 10 minutes. One thing that during that gratitude, like ritual, we'll call it right now, where it's that important to me, that I spend that time being grateful for the small things that I have, because the small things that you have will allow bigger things to happen, right? So for me, I start thinking and being grateful for I've got a house, I've got my wife loves me, I'm grateful. I have amazing kids, and just start to really kind of center myself around the simple things. I was listening to one of my favorite people. I think it was Ed Milet that actually was saying it, and he was talking about how to be grateful for even smaller things than that. Like I have no, I'm sorry, it was Dean Graziosi. I have nice, comfortable sheets, before he gets out of bed in the morning. Like literally somebody who's, a billionaire basically, who, is talking about being grateful for comfortable sheets and a nice bed. I mean, that's a practice of gratitude, right? Like getting that into your mindset, like you said, carrying it through the whole day. And if you can do it with those little things, you can really start to, in the middle of a fight with somebody, rather than letting that experience wreck your day, you can get centered back and be like, I have a job. I was fighting with my friend, but I have a job. I have a good job. Thank you for that. And that can literally recenter you back to being grateful, and that you're not worrying about the circumstances, but the mindset of it and the practice of it. Just wanted to I'm so with you, man. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. No, you are transitioning well into what I wanted to say next. And I did want to mention meditation, which I've always been a prayer guy, and I thought meditation was separate from that, but prayer is meditation. And so I've gotten into the meditation thing, which is weird to say, but you know, I'm glad that you experienced the gratitude exercises like I do. But I'm curious if the next part of what I'm going to talk about, if you've been able to experience this as well, because this was profound for me, and I actually I thought, like, if anybody else knows about this and they haven't told me, I'm kind of mad. So I'm hoping this is new. I'm hoping this is new for you, Sean, because if you hadn't shared it with me, then we got a bone to pick. So I want to just get this idea out there that your body is your unconscious mind, and your body doesn't know the difference between a real experience in your life and an experience that's created by thought alone. And that should be something maybe to just sit on for a minute.
That's huge.
If you put that into perspective of maybe some goals and dreams that you have, you could start to see where your mind would go. If your body doesn't know the difference between a real experience and an experience that's created by thought alone. So you can experience the life that you want through meditating and feeling the future experience, and you can feel like it's happened in the present moment. And when you teach your body emotionally what that future will feel like before it's made manifest, I said the body is the unconscious mind. It believes it's living in the future in the present moment. So if you're able to become familiar with abundance, familiar with peace, joy, and you can generate those chemicals every day, then more than likely you would not feel like you would not be walking around wishing for things. You'd be walking around feeling like your future has already happened.
Powerful.
And if you've already experienced it, you're not separate from it. You've already done it. And like I said before, your personality is made up of how you think, act, and feel. So you're literally becoming somebody else.
So powerful.
So, I said become familiar with these emotions of peace and all this, but you can also become familiar with that future that you're aspiring to, whatever your achievement it might be in life that you're looking to accomplish.
I love it that you put this stuff down in notes and everything so that you can share it like that. Because to be honest with you, I just found that out last year too, and I was going to tell you. I think I texted you and you didn't answer me.
Stop it.
Are
you serious?
Joe Dispenza is somebody that I learned that from. Yeah. And now I'm finding it more in the books that I'm reading right now, as a matter of fact. I'm reading one right now, and that's literally what she's talking about. Is there was an experiment where they were showing and they had people in an MRI. They actually showed them, and they were playing ball together. Like this was the experience. They're playing ball together, and there's 3 of them, and then all of a sudden 2 of them start playing ball and dismiss the other one. So now that other one's just standing there like, what's going on? It emotionally, it hit their brain like pain, that they were experiencing pain while this wasn't even going on to begin with, because it was a game that they were playing in this thing and in this MRI machine. And once they stopped passing the ball to the person felt pain, like they were getting slapped. Just that like disconnect of, now I'm not with those guys anymore, feeling that. So the power that we have in being able to really create our future, like you said, by experiencing the emotion and putting that into context for where we want to be, what we want to experience, as opposed to what we experienced yesterday, is huge. That we have the ability to be able to do that. But for you to put that into the notes the way that you did, and to be able to really kind of put it out there, man, I just appreciate that. And I want you to continue with that, man.
Yeah. And one last thing on there is you know, I kind of talked on the emotion part of it. But I just want to drive home that, um, through meditating on things and experiencing that future now, it can save you some hardship and help you make decisions, right?
Yes.
It can save you some money. So I've used this, you know, practice, this method to save me money. And so if I can sit there and meditate and try to experience that future as if it's happening in the present moment, I can say, well, nah, that's not worth it. Or I might even say, let's go do that. Let's go get that. And it's helped me save, or prevent me from making some financial mistakes. So
That's awesome,
if you
buddy.
think you're maybe an emotional spender or whatever, maybe try that out.
What do you do to
Um,
experience gratitude? Like, how
what
do
do
you
I do
feel
to
it? How do you
experience?
like emotionalize it? What do you do?
Yeah. So, like, okay, so I'm glad you said that because now I can answer Paul's question. Um, like I said, I've always been intimate with God, and to have gratitude for the things that He does for you allows you to deepen that relationship. So if I'm meditating or praying, I'm experiencing those things that I'm grateful for. I'm literally. It's almost as bizarre as it sounds. Now that I say it, it's almost like time travel to where I'm either
Okay.
thanking for things that I'm going to experience or thanking for things that I have already experienced. And if you can go to that place, then you experience deep emotional feelings of gratitude. You know, um, there's that chemical reaction that takes place in the brain. Um, and so that's what I do. It's that deep meditation of deep thankfulness. And like I said earlier, it's easy to just say, "Yeah, I'm thankful. Thanks for this, thanks for that," almost like you're punching the clock. But if you can go to true true gratitude, I think that's where the magic happens.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. For me too, it's about I start with closing my eyes in the morning. I actually set my timer on my watch and I set 10 minutes. And I literally just like close my eyes and I start to breathe in and I breathe in scriptures. Like I breathe in and I just say, today is the day that the Lord has made. And I take that deep breath and then I breathe it out and I will rejoice and be glad in it. And then I literally just start to picture, I'm so grateful for my wife, and us like talking and us just kind of, smiling at each other. The other day, as a matter of fact, after your message, I was listening to a book and reading a book called The Liberty of Our Language Revealed. Roy had mentioned it to you too. And you would come on
Yeah,
right after and shared this message with us on Saturday. Well, Sunday, my language changed. And that was when I think I shared that with you too about today is the day the Lord has made. Well, then it became today is the awesome and amazing day that the Lord has made. I will count my blessings, smile. Smiling is powerful too. When you're smiling, it's hard to be mad, right? It's hard to be frustrated. If you're grateful and you're smiling, if you're thinking about it and you're smiling, it's powerful. I will smile and be
yeah,
grateful in it. And that's literally what my new, today is the day the Lord has made has become, which has really kind of changed from good to great, right? Like where I'm starting to feel that it's more exciting. When you start to use and kind of color your words a little bit more, we have control over what we say, right? As well as what we think, and what we think can really correlate with what we say. And if we're saying that it's great, it's awesome, it's amazing, it's better than, yeah, it's okay. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
What you say starts with a thought. So
Hmm.
you can't speak without, or hopefully you're not speaking without thinking. Uh, so if you are saying the things that you just said, that's reprogramming that pattern of subconscious thought into a new destiny.
Powerful.
Yeah,
Powerful. I
absolutely.
love it, brother.
So I kind of want to just go on a separate path, something that I hadn't shared on Saturday, because it's
Please
not
do.
it is on the subject of patterns like I talked about, but it's not thought and emotion as much. Um, there's certain lids on our life. Our thoughts are the lid on our life. There's certain skills that we should develop if we're looking to um, live a high quality of life, right? And two things that I think are important is confidence and to know your identity.
Yes.
So confidence is easy. Person, it's like sounds really good. And are we good? All right, we're there.
Think we're good. Yep.
We good?
Yep.
You blanked out for a minute. Okay. So confidence is when you can keep you may through to yourself. Would you agree with that, Sean?
That did just kind of blank out a little bit. I apologize. Anybody that's watching this, we are up in the
Okay.
mountains in Vermont and there is a rainstorm. So, can you repeat that again, Adam? Sorry, brother.
I, I absolutely can. I don't know if I'm blinking again. Maybe though. Confident promise you make to yourself going through on what you say you're doing. It means the lack of it means they probably don't trust themselves. You know?
Yes, I
Did we
did
get it
get
that
some of
time?
that. I'm just gonna, Father God, I just praise you and thank you, Lord, as Adam's speaking about something
Okay.
profound right now. We just pray a
Some
blessing over this. And thank you that you can hear us. I am a believer that there's power in prayer. And I just put this in your hands, Lord, that we would be able to continue with this. Paul, can you hear us okay?
yeah, and
Go ahead, Adam.
yeah, I'm very good at
Ah,
that. Sean.
yeah,
You,
it's kind of blanking out a little bit right now.
all right. So what I was saying is confidence is when you keep the promises that you make to yourself and that you follow through with what you say you're going to do and that you trust yourself.
Amen. Yes.
Um, so I don't want to go too long here if we're having issues because we'll be wasting
We'll have to do a part 2 on this, Adam. It's just
you there.
what you're talking about is such high level, and obviously,
That's right.
you've been experiencing amazing results. I mean, your paving business is absolutely incredible. Your marriage, you got amazing kids. I mean, you're really experiencing this blessing, and it's certainly something that is worthy of sharing. And I just totally appreciate you, man. I don't know if you can
I guess I
hear.
would
Yep.
say, you're all, yeah. I would just wrap it up by saying that you're either the creator of your life or you're the victim of your life. Uh, if you're not choosing the things that you want, then you're not creating your life. And so your earnings, or it be like a house or nice cars, or maybe it's drugs and alcohol, you're not going to fill it up. And so I think everybody should start to get thoughts and emotions affect, and how does this bring, and can help you to not be stuck in that revolving door that we talked about.
That's awesome, brother, man. That's absolutely awesome. I mean, that's so true. The choice is ours. I mean, the word says that I set before you life and death. Choose life, right? And make it abundant, make it great. Like Jesus came to give us
Right.
life and give it more abundantly. Let's make the best of it. Let's not just survive. Let's thrive, right? Like that's the choices that we have. And man, I just
Absolutely.
appreciate you. That just makes so much sense to me. And I'm apologize if any of this got a little grumbled up here, guys. It's like I said, we're up in the mountains in Vermont, and there's a little rainstorm going on. But yeah,
We did
Adam.
well
Hey,
though, Sean. We did well. We went for a while.
yeah, well, brother, you got some great information, man. And like I said, I truly appreciate you, coming on here and just sharing that. I know that Paul was hearing some great stuff out of that, and some other people that are on here, and this will go out. So this is definitely time well invested, and I appreciate you, brother.
Good job to do this.
Awesome. Well, for now, we will just close this off, and I just want to say a quick prayer for you here, Adam, because like I said, I truly appreciate you. And Lord, I pray that everybody that's watching this, Lord, that you'd bless them, that you'd open their hearts, Lord, that they would just be able to have a better understanding with you, a more intimate relationship with you, Lord, that they would look to you for their answers, Father God, and that you would just bless them abundantly. Lord, I pray a blessing over Adam, his business, his family, his wife, his kids, Lord. What a great man of God he is, Lord, and I just pray that you just continue to bless him, and that you help him with this message, Lord, and that this would go out and be heard to other people, that they would be blessed as well. In the mighty and precious name of Jesus, amen. Thank you, Adam. I'm going to sign
Amen.
this thing off, and we will definitely be in touch, my friend. Did
Sounds
you
good,
want to say
brother.
anything close?
No, I think you nailed it.
Awesome. Okay, brother. We'll talk to you later. God bless everybody.